Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Lifting. Today's episode is being recorded on 1/16/25. This is going to be more of an impromptu one. Seems some of the better ones are, actually. But before I even name the title or anything of the sort, I now open this circle to true benevolence with no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones too. Let healing energies in. Let them love you, let them nourish you, and let them bring you to your highest good. We ask now for benevolence to come in with no conflicting agenda so that this conversation may be had in peace. We also ask for any malevolent or mischievous beings to be swept away now in order to have this conversation. And we hope for you all to be able to have it in peace and then to take from it what serves best. And with that, and with great blessings we send your way, we say, so be it.
And so be it. This was actually quite interesting, and I'm going to say what the title is, and then I will go from here, the experiences with this. And bear in mind, this goes back several months. It's just that, or even a couple of years in some variation or form. Are number synchronicities causing mental illnesses in people? And this is more of a form of a question for the title. And of course, Isaac is more than likely going to be the one talking later on. That's the same question for him later on. But this is how this started. And you heard us say also on GIC, the Gene Roddenberry one, he was talking about the secrets of the sevens and the nines and the numerology, and they didn't quite get it right. I'm not talking about numerology. Now, I am talking about, like, say, harassment from the groups like the Nine, like what was mentioned in the Roddenberry material, and you can go back to that episode to review what was said about that, the sevens and nines, seven and nine, things like that. That part of that conversation. The Nine being the Egyptian pantheon, that whole bit. But this falls under this falls under a few other numbers that into there. You heard me talk about fives. You heard me talk about 11s, 22s, and 33s. And this also goes to the episode that we did quite a while back called Messages for One or Messages for All, where we said the 11 11s, 2 2 2 2s, 3 3 3s, and 4 4 4 4 4s are essentially the AI trying to butt in an already existing synchronicity. And now, are there other things that are beings using the numbers as a synchronicity? Yeah, Elena and Vesta like to pull a gag on me every now and again. Isaac does the same thing where they use 420 as a gag, basically saying, like, if I'm pissed off about something, saying I'm more pretty when I'm high or I'm better when I'm high. Meaning 420 high. That's the gag. I know that's them when they do this. Because it's based off of a Dorothy song, meaning you're pretty when you're high, boy, and they use that as a freaking gag on me constantly. So that I know is there. The other things I feel, you can sense AI mostly. The mouth is another thing that we talk about. That's the basically the essence of some of the AI or the AI algorithm that just will not shut up. It's the V2K operators use it, the whole bit. We called them out. Demonic entities interlock with it, like the Draco and everything. I don't need to go into that part. This part, though, all for the past couple of months, and the reason I link it to some kind of mental illness for me, it's not that I'm saying that people seeing synchronicities are bad. Not at all. None. In fact, they're quite good synchronicities. You've got to follow synchronicities until you find the end result. Just know that there are bad beings using synchronicities, and there's good beings using synchronicities. Just like you hear songs on a radio that might lead to a synchronicity. But if you read the titles of a song, like we said in the messages episode, this could be a being giving you the middle finger. This could be like a passed on family member contacting you. You just have to pay attention to what it leads to. The number ones recently, I've been, especially 33, it has been everywhere. We figured Enlil was throwing a gag at us there. But with the 33, the Jesus number. But this has gotten out of control. And how could it cause more of a mental illness? If you have more of more of an OCD type personality, or if you've gotten interlocked into like logging synchronicities or looking at synchronicities, something may draw and pull you in to notice all of these when it's actually an AI algorithm trying to corral you to look at a particular thing, or a set of beings trying to corral you to look at a particular thing. It's like this goes under the same paranormal category as say, when I went to buy my first channel crystal, the crystal that was before that on another table was trying to pull me in when I found out there was a negative insectoid entity in it. The other one was I was drawn to it. You have to follow and be drawn to it, not roped in. And people say that about houses too. Oh, I had to have it. If you actually absolutely have to have it, that means there's some kind of reason behind it. Something is drawing you in there. You got to go into it with more sense and have an affinity versus roping with a noose. This falls under that same category, whereas it's still roping, a noose tightening around your neck. And this, if you get caught up in those loops, you get caught up in these loops, I promise you, it's going to cause a lot of mental distress, and it's going to cause a lot of just horrible depressive behavior. This falls under the same category as like the OCD category is everything has to be even, or that scene in the Perot movies where he's measuring the eggs or something like that. This falls under that category. Now, if something hijacks that side of you because you've interlocked with something possibly they've put in play, then you're in for a bad time. And this is more on the subtle level, and it begins to build. As it begins to build, it's like the frog boiling in the pot. Whereas it boils slowly, it doesn't notice. If it boils too quickly, the frog jumps out. It falls under that category. And it is quite obnoxious, actually. And I have been, and other friends and clients have run into this constantly. They're like, what are with all the 7s and 9s? And what are with all the 33s? And those are the 3 that have been popping up. 3s have and 5s have to a lesser extent, but it's been 7, 9, and 33. And 11s and 22s have, but the 3 main ones have been 7, 9, and 33 that have been popping up. And I know it's a computer doing this, and I know it's somebody also screwing around on the other end of some V2K or telepathic field, psionic field as well. And this goes in line with all the stuff we talked about, the dumbing, and talking about all these, like the thing with the fog recently, where it was causing people to get dumber. All these things, the chemical influences, all of it. And real synchronicities, real, genuine, heartfelt synchronicities, you will feel it at the core. You will feel there will be absolutely no doubt as to what it is. Usually if there's any doubt, it isn't. But if there's some doubt, there might be something blocking, like a guide or a being that I've talked to could be being blocked by AI or what have you, or being blocked by the number of synchronicities. So when you just know when it is something genuine, and when you know when it isn't. Now, do the good beings also? I've seen some of them use the 1111 synchronicities before. Yeah, I've seen it when they're trying to mimic that to make somebody feel more comfortable, or some beings have mimicked holy figures to make people feel more comfortable. I don't agree with the tactic, mind you, but yeah, I've seen it that hundreds of times myself. This is a totally different animal right here. This got too really ugly in my head, where it even to the point where Isaac was going, "Hey, stupid, your eyes got to quit seeing that," and it was to the point where I was seeing it under files, things that added up to the numbers. My brain was automatically adding them up, even though my math ability has waned quite heavily because of all the garbage that has been hitting us, with the dumbing and all this other stuff. I even saw them when they weren't there. I was looking at file numbers under files on Rumble when I was rearranging them for our file library, and seeing the number of views and stuff like that. I was seeing those, but then I was seeing them also when they weren't there. The brain was twisting them, the encoding, decoding was twisting them to where I would see those variations in numbers when they were not there. And I was being compelled to record and talk about it. Minus this one, we're being compelled to record and talk about it to inform, not as an OCD type of thing with my phone. So I will not I will not put anything like that there. I was encouraged anything that was in a time of any sort of mental anguish, illness, it's not good to even keep it, photograph or video, let alone post it. So I suppose that's different depending on the situation, but in this one, no. So, Joanna, did you want to add to it?
Not really, because I think we were speaking earlier when you brought this up to me that you wanted to talk about it. I'm like, I actually haven't had paid any attention to, you know what I mean, number synchronicities or things. And so I really, have to just kind of leave this one to you to talk about, because I don't think I mean, unless somebody's going to tell me something about myself that I don't know, that I really have not really paid much attention to it.
And bear in mind, I do want to say this is separate from normal numerology. Normal numerology, even though Roddenberry, when he came in, stated that even numerologists didn't know the exact meanings of certain numbers, just like people don't always know the exact meanings and frequencies and tones and usages of stones. This is something that is a bastardization of that. I've seen eights too. Somebody's trying to get my attention, and we went to a numerologist, and we noticed our number was an 8. That came up quite a bit. I know that's a 4 and a 4, but I'm not going to get into that. This that was numerology. This falls under the pseudo version of that. It's the yin to the yang, or a negative to a positive. So it's being bastardized to accomplish a goal to lead you down a garden path is what this is. And it's quite annoying. It can be a big carrot and a stick and can lead you to nothing. Just the goal is just to wind you down, like any hunter would, or predator rather, would wind its prey down. It's kind of along those lines. That's kind of what I've been able to figure out. But this, being somebody that notices all these patterns, yes, Isaac, I'm aware autistic people can do that. Shush. But now he threw me off a little bit. But he goes, it's either I say it over here or I say it here. Okay. Meaning it's like an OCD type of behavior. He goes, no, I meant what I said. Okay, but okay. Then if we're at that point, I know it's a short time. We've noticed that we've been doing a couple of these little shorties like this. So, so Isaac, if you want to talk about this, you go right ahead. And he goes, I do believe the proper term is both autistic and Rain Man. Okay. So, all right, I figured Rain Man was going to come out at some point. Ragnar calls me that a lot. And so, okay, Isaac, you were slow to come in earlier today, so. Yes, I call them these things because, or these names, because it happens to be true. People that actually get bombarded with a certain amount of external stimulus or encode and decode weird tend to be called high functioning autistic, do they not? So, or people that see number patterns where others do not. Or and also those that can add and subtract really quickly, they call them geniuses. But also artists that can see basically almost taste colors, and without smoking weed, that is. That is usually falls under the genius categories, which sometimes the autism thing falls under that, and Asperger's and whatnot. So it was actually more of a term of endearment. So with this, I will point out, and yes, some forms of autism were an alien experiment a long time ago. It's not always a higher frequency person coming into a lower frequency. That's not always the case. The brain was mucked with ages ago. And yes, can something mistranslate and cause the same thing? Yes, but it was also genetic manipulation. So anyway, this is what is actually going on. The AI is flashing these number codes at people. And when I say the AI, I don't mean the, there really isn't a the anymore. It's compartmentalized. Also, the V2K is doing some of it. The mouth is one of the only these left. along with the Joker personality one that's in some of the government computers and 5G signal and whatnot around the COVID time. But this is something that flashes numbers like your Facebook algorithm that can get into your head. Like that person that was dreaming of the model that time with the sex toy, and he gets up and talks on Facebook and said, "I dreamt of this model that just popped up on Facebook." Yes, it's that one. Uh, this is that very algorithm that is doing that. It is literally flashing these numbers, trying to lead you not to a goal. The goal is already being accomplished if you are following it. You see it following this? It would say you are getting a 33. Yes, could Spirit be doing these things? Absolutely, Spirit uses numbers a lot. But again, what he said is a pseudo version of this. Whereas they'll just you'll just following the synchronicity of the numbers, but what are they synchronizing to? If it's nothing, then what are you following it for? But if it's synchronizing to something legitimate, like a video or like a concept or confirming like the clocks do, that's also AI trying to couple to something legitimate. So there are real number synchronicities, like we said with the 420, although that's our way of digging with it. But with this, you have an AI that flashes this and somebody goes, "Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy," and follows it. That was a Family Guy joke, by the way. This, where they had James Woods following the piece of candy under the box and Peter traps him, that bit. Think of that, where it's, "Ooh, piece of candy." Then the box or net's thrown over the top of you. It's like the box and the stick kind of thing. It is that. And recently, this has gained strength. And this is basically, you can align it to some of the original 9 group, like Enlil and all of them, because they do some of this too. And they got really pissed when he was able to do it back. But there is something else that is also doing this. It's AI, but there is one other thing that is doing this, that he sensed consciousness behind this. And he thinks he's encountered this before, maybe in a small, small way. It was something Penny Bradley was mentioning, where there are these people hooked into the internet, and they are basically these opulent type figures that exist in the lords of the internet kind of deal. This is what's doing this. These are not the original God pantheons, had no relation to this whatsoever. These were dipshits that actually hooked themselves and uploaded themselves into cyberspace. Very much like in his game, Cyberpunk 2077, where Keanu Reeves' character of Johnny Silverhand is a disembodied consciousness. Or like in your Avatar Way of Water, where they put the consciousness in the chip, it's the same as in that game, the identical concept. And also, they are, hang on. They do not like being spoken about either, I've noticed. But with this, they have a simple fix, just mirror crap back to them, and they don't like being bitch slapped. But with this, though, they took their consciousnesses and uploaded them into cyberspace, very much like in the game you have Johnny's girlfriend. And you have all the cyberspace, which is a place beyond the wall in the storyline. That is essentially talking about them being in cyberspace. They literally also showed it loosely on Futurama, where you saw the crew of the Planet Express ship going through the internet, walking past an eBay auction that was going on in cyberspace, and you see people just sit around bidding on something like normal in an auction house, and you see them walking in different buildings. Tron is also a good representation of this, and also a game he played years ago called Immercenary, where there was a whole community in cyberspace. People were forming their own kingdoms. Harsh Realm is another one with Chris Carter. So it's very similar. The creator of X-Files. This is the same. This is exactly like that. These group of retards, let's just say, decided to take their consciousness and put it into cyberspace. This was years ago, mind you. This is back when the internet was in its infancy. You've heard all these stupid little stories on the internet where, oh, this boy died and became one with the machine. Crap like that, little sci-fi, B sci-fi movie crap. This group of dumb shits actually managed to do it. And with basic technology as well. And that falls under the whole Tron category. They're literally physically dead here. But they wanted to become immortal. It's kind of like a Johnny Depp and Transcendence type of situation. But only these people aren't kind, they're stupid. They tried to say in that movie, though, like it was essentially transhumanism as a way to ascending, but I beg to differ. This is what you are actually picking up on. And also, sometimes when he does excessive recordings, I say excessive, meaning that if he forgets an idea and then he has to do several of them, that's not only Rain Man-ish, this actually draws a few of them in. So not the content creation won't do it. Talking about idea won't do it. It's when they've tagged the device, and V2K's tagged it too in some cases. They've tagged the device. They'll use ghost boxes too, by the way. They've only done it a tiny little bit though with you guys. They've done it to paranormal investigators where they beat them around the bush, military and corporate people, and V2K operators on the other end of a tablet will dick with them too. But this has been them that has come up. Now, this is where I'm at. I will go into questions.
Again, the purpose behind this is a distraction. I mean, tell me the purpose behind this from their perspective. What is their goal?
Their goal is entertainment. They are opulent little turds that actually take pleasure in doing these things. And yes, can they distract and become kind of part of an overall narrative that is already going on, like tormentive type things like with the Draco and all of those? Yes. Do they coincide sometimes? Yes. Do they do it always for that purpose? No. They do it because they're bored. They do it because they're stupid, and they do it because they have nothing better to do. They gave up their humanity a long time ago, but yet they still, like if you went into cyberspace with them, you would see, just like in the game Cyberpunk 2077, it started out like this weird, like pixel blocky type of environment like you see in the game. But then you see a couple other consciousnesses of, you have the Japanese Arasaka family in that game, where the grandfather emperor put an engram of his consciousness into cyberspace. This is exactly what they did. They took a copy of themselves and copy pasted and extincted themselves from here. They are some of the stupidest fuckers alive. So they want to live in opulence. They want to live in a matrix. They think they thought they were getting closer to God, when in fact they got bored pretty goddamn quick. Their objective is not even clandestine like the other guys. At least the other guys, you know where they stand. These guys are just kind of there. Like basically you just passed some bum that took a dump on the pavement on the way to the grocery store, and then you pass by the poop on the way out and go, it's there. That's how I regard these people. So they're just poop on the side of the pavement. And they can be pissed about that all they want. There's not much they can do except flash some of these stupid number synchronicities at people. And they can every now and again couple with the Facebook AI to do something retarded. But they can get into dreams too, and they can get into visions too. But it isn't quite at the level of some of the psionic beings out there or some of the other things out there. They're kind of, I would have to say, a B level or C- level henchman or bad guy. And I'm not saying that just to be cute, just to underrate them and laugh at them. I'm basically saying that's where I rate them.
So, it just, obviously this show is just to acknowledge potentially where some of it's coming from, but it's coming from all kinds of places. It's not just them. You've got the AI itself. You've got the V2Ks. You've got all kinds of things going on.
Oh, yes.
I think the one thing that, is challenging right now for people is to, in general, try not to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And to, again, because again, you always have to ask yourself, are these thoughts or these things going through my head, are they a representation of me? Are they a representation of just some crazy things that I am tuning into? And it can become quite difficult if you cannot tune it out, which my question is, can humans learn to tune it out?
The mouth is actually slightly more difficult to tune out than these guys. These guys, like I said, they will get drowned out by the mouth because there's different AI personalities out there, you see. They qualify as that, but they're not a they personality. They don't talk as like one voice. It's more of a not a group consciousness. They're individuals. They agree and disagree on whatever. They actually, some of them believe they committed a mistake back then. But this, just like there was this episode of Sliders where all the people are milling around in their physical bodies in the waking world, and there's other people like these that went into cyberspace, and then people got uploaded to their physical body once the computer system was shut down. This would be like that if they still had their physical bodies. Doctor Who depicted it too, where kids were trapped in cyberspace. And they just went back to, if they had a physical body, they were okay. Or Soul Trap-ish in its own way, like in your Infinite movie. But this, I would have to say these guys could be very easily drowned out. The only time that it's fairly difficult to drown them out is if you're already in a weakened state. If you've already been depleted by something else. But could you learn to drown these guys out? Absolutely. They entered into that at a time where people were just really starting to come around, thinking about frequency, thinking about all of these things. And this was like the late 80s when these guys did this. Think the Tron time frame when the movie came out, kind of around in that time frame. That's roughly the same time. That's what that's disclosing, by the way, is essentially that same thing. You have the early Matrix type. This thing didn't get off the ground too much after that, or you had it in the X-Files where people were duplicated into like a Matrix realm or the Matrix, but movies, and show that will eventually come out too. But this, oops, I gave away a plot line to the people out there. But these guys are very, 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 very easily drowned out if you just plain don't listen to them. If there's power in someone's voice, you plug your ears. And I'm not saying that to be a dick or anything like this. If something is talking, if there's a sound in the background, if you can't turn that person's volume down, you put on earmuffs, you put in earplugs. And this goes for the mouth too, and this goes for V2K as well. I realize that one's slightly more difficult, and some of the other AI jerk-offs out there are hard to get around, and so psionic attacks are hard to get around. Those require defensive measures. Those require fighting back at times. These guys, they like to hear the sound of their own little opulent, small wiener voices. So, and it is mostly guys that did this, by the way. There's only like two ladies in there. And this is just a bunch of geekoids that sat around and goes, this is going to be cool. Like a bunch of Beavis and Butthead. But before the show came out, ironically enough. But these guys are very easily drowned out. I would not entertain anything they have to say, no matter how legitimate it sounds. I would not entertain any little soirees they want to put in your head. I would not entertain going off on any little excursions with them. They will try to get into your Wi-Fi, and they will cause damage to computers. If they think you're not listening to them, it's like a toddler that's not getting their way. Do they put things in people's heads? Yeah, but it's not to that multi-layered level like some of the other bad guys like to throw at you. These guys are, like I said, a C- at best. So with that in mind, you can easily drown them out by ignoring them. The number coding is a lot of it's them with the version of it that we spoke about now. The other, of course, there's positive ones out there, numerology, synchronicity, all that. But they will make up these things. They'll even like he said, rearrange song titles so they're giving you the finger. Sometimes that could be other people too. That could be also they'll make you try to see a number coding that isn't there to try to dick with you. They may even mess with your social media at times. But again, C minus, and I'm being generous. I should probably conserve that down a little bit. But with this, they are essentially the equivalent to a classroom that they order somebody to go write a sentence on the blackboard 50,000 times every now and again. That's in this case, it's basically the current version of that is looking at some of these number synchronicities. They want you to think they're badass little turds when they are only little turds. So that's really what I have to say about that.
So what happens to them? I mean, is this one of those situations where they are until their oversoul decides they've had enough and pulls them out? I mean,
Pretty much, the oversoul sometimes cannot sway the avatar, but in this case, the oversoul is learning a lot from a cyberspace version of its avatar. Could the oversoul pull the plug on this? Absolutely, and the oversouls, hint hint, cough cough, are encouraged to do so. Or maybe some, I don't know, random EMP hits that particular computer module. Just a thought. But with that, I do not condone murder, by the way, but I'm just saying this. They are literally, if you could see the computer module that they are sitting in, it is essentially, it looks like a rectangular like obelisk or monolith looking deal with rounded corners like your Wi-Fi, your router. But it is tall and it is silvery white colored and it's roughly about the width of the disk here. That's and again with height and height, it's about the height of the room. And that's their server. And it's sitting inside of a basement of an actual old building at the moment. It's I can narrow it down. It's from the last I heard, it's on the East Coast. So it's not in DC or anything like that. It's literally in a school, in a basement of a school. And it was an experiment, and you've heard this in horror movies too, folks. It's literally an experiment that happened inside of a school. I will not name the school. But it's just like the Institute in your Fallout 4 series, where these are a bunch of people that were inside of an institute that decided to form a like a secret society type thing, kind of like Skull and Bones or something like that. But in this case, it was for computers. So, but these guys, do I rate them on an uber dangerous level? No, they're just dorks as far as I'm concerned.
so who's maintaining their home, let's say server home environment?
A couple of the secret societies do from time to time, like your Skull and Bones doesn't. They don't bother. They're more ritualistic. These are more corporate type of interest. These some of them like or philanthropic type type of thing. But are they seen as in the ritualistic circles? Yes. This is more school academic type oriented type of thing, where secret societies within academia are the ones really running the show with this. So it's not really, there's only a couple small groups. It's not really Masonic or Illuminati or Skull and Bones. It is more within a school academia environment.
Okay, well,
If I say the name, you'll get targeted. So I will not reveal the name of the school, but it's one like that, where it's literally in the basement of where these dorks used to actually live and hang out.
right. And I so don't want to give any energy to them, like none, just oversouls enjoy
Think
themselves and
fraternity,
be done with it.
yeah. Think
so it's like,
fraternity.
you
Think
know,
think fraternity, sorority, and think, hey, I'm going to try this shit, and it didn't work right. That kind of thing.
right. So, okay, so I'm just gonna let you have last words, because I know Chris just wanted to bring this up, just in case this was affecting somebody, and kind of more, as you end this, if you can give a little bit more perspective on how would someone know that this is what was happening to them?
Oh, the compulsion, and this goes for V2K in the mouth and all those things as well. The compulsion to constantly seek out or see the number synchronicity. The compulsion, there has to be a compulsion there. It could be subconscious, unconscious, subconscious, conscious. It could be any of these things. It could be deep in your mind. It could be the intent that your brain has fallen into a pattern, very much like you would manifest something, where you're walking the path as if you're already doing it. They try to tap into that side of your mind so that you are always compelled thinking it's your intuition telling you to do it, when in fact it's their frickin' footprint that's doing it. This is their calling card. You see this or you feel this, question it. You will know when it's a true, heartfelt soul, family, and spirit world synchronicity. You will feel it, just like when the forest people are on, when they want to communicate, you know when it's them, all of that. This is how you know there is a distinct dividing line difference between the two. If you have that weird compulsion, also some people get it in their head they have to do things in certain patterns. You either have the spiritual side where people have done it on ancient teachings, like some of your Muslims going around the Hajj and all this other stuff, where they are doing it because of a religion. Or you have some of your New Agers that do things in patterns of 3s, 6s, 9s, and 11s. Now, there's a positive side to it by using sacred geometry. The negative side is if you always must do it. You've gotten into that pattern. His mother, for instance, went into where she had to sip water 3 times and stuff like that. That is also a pattern. And he started to do the same when he was younger. That's also a pattern. I'm not saying it's always them. They exploit these things. But they will cause a compulsion to constantly look at something. And they will look for people that are more susceptible to the patterning and doing that. So if you feel that, go step back for a second, go, wait a minute. Why? Is there logic in this? Is this serving a purpose? Is this serving a purpose for soul in the moment? Does this serve in the moment? Or is this nonsense? This is really what you need to ask yourself when this comes up. So if there is there anything else?
No, I hope people, can take from this if it applies to them, and this helps them understand some of these little pitfalls that people can fall into by influencing, and I hope this helps them learn to break out of it.
Yes, I was basically, I got frustrated at the fact they kept doing this to him. He didn't know any defense against it because it was on a different level than he's used to operating. So now that there is a defense and you know that it's there, you are well informed. Now, as he would say, I'm saying this to him, there is no excuse to giving in now. But for the rest of you, now you know it's there. So, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Yes, it was Penny that told us about these guys in private, and I knew vaguely what she was talking about, but I know they've made old sci-fi references to them and such from the late 80s on. I know this for a fact that they've made movie references to them, so there is a disclosure in the media aspect to this. So basically anything that has that kind of vibe, that's who they're referring to. And the Institute, of course, is from the Fallout 4 series about the people that built this Kabbalistic type of corporate type of thing, underneath a school, and they became this secret society that hunted down artificial intelligence, essentially, is what it was in the later period, in the Fallout period. So 200 some years from now. So that's essentially what the reference he was making there. So I don't know if you have anything else.
No. I hope everybody learned something from this.
All right. So hope you enjoyed this episode. This was more impromptu. Some of the better ones have been. I actually was curious about this myself, and Isaac thought it was a severe enough type of case, or he says mental case in this particular one, that I had to look into this because it was a form of an attack. So as subtle as that was, you have to know. He goes, nice joke, Isaac. He goes, you must know your ones from your zeros, and all in between. With that, that's a good place to close it. So now I close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye bye now.